Hey everyone, today we want to go through our journey from day one to the final day of hatching our new chicks at the homestead. So stay tuned and enjoy the show. And thank you for watching and supporting. Oh, they're finally here. Oh man, I'm nervous. Oh, all right. Get these guys opened up super carefully. Oh. Seeing any yolk in the bottom, I guess that's a good sign. They're a lot of trouble. All right, here we go. They look good so far. And there's one Jersey Giant. We'll go ahead and candle all these in a bit here and see if there's any cracks or anything. Don't want to put them in the incubator with cracks in them. Looks like we've got 6 extra here, which was super nice. So we ended up with 18 total. You average about 75% hatch rate. So this is really awesome. The people we got these from are very kind enough to send us a few extras just in case we lost some. Looks like we lost one there. So far not too bad. Looks like that guy's okay. And yeah, these are all Jersey Giants. New breed for us at the homestead. Really excited to get these guys hatching. I am super nervous and super excited at the same time. We have hatched in the past, but we used the hens. It was not the greatest of experiences. And it is nerve-wracking raising all these fragile little creatures, but we are really excited to add these guys to the flock. And yeah, really excited to try out the new incubator as well. See how that goes. All right, we are looking good so far. These are all marked, so we know what they are. We have a few of our own eggs that we're going to try in the incubator this year as well. These eggs are really clean, not too much at all. They look really healthy, and yeah, a little bit of straw in there, never hurt anybody. And here we go, last one. So far, it's looking good. And that is 17 out of 18. Well, that's a nice big one. A lot of hen-looking eggs in here. I know they say the rounder ones are hens, the pointier ones are roosters, so we shall see what these all grow up to be. And yeah, that's good odds right there so far. Only lost one in shipping, so yeah. So we're checking all the eggs. We want to make sure there's no hairline cracks in them. And yeah, this will be our first candling. We'll do another one at 8 days and another one at I think it's 15 days, 16 days. Anyway, you only want to do it twice. You don't want to disrupt them, but you definitely don't want to bother them the first few days they're in the incubator. And the cracks are no good. the temperatures can get up in there. If bacteria gets into the cracks, it can cause expansion inside the egg, which can ultimately end to the egg exploding inside the incubator, which I imagine is a giant mess, and we hope to not see that happen. So we will make sure all of these are good to go, and this looks like a nice, beautiful, ready to go egg. Yeah, if you're interested in some Jersey Giants and you're in the area of Alberta or BC or Saskatchewan, message us, and yeah, we'll share the information of the nice people that shared these eggs with us. And yeah, looking forward to seeing these guys grow. Okay, so we checked all our eggs, and the one was damaged in shipping. All good. She sent us 6 extras, which was awesome. We candled them all. We did find one. I'm just going to show you that in plain daylight, this thing feels normal, looks absolutely normal. But when you hit it with the candle, I'll show you here in a second exactly what you need to look for before you put these things into your incubator. Okay, so we showed it to you in the daylight, and now you can see. It's probably going to even be hard to see on the video, but there are these areas where the markings are quite odd looking in comparison to the rest of the markings on the egg. And yeah, at close look, you can see there's a hairline crack running right through those blemishes on the egg. And yeah, that is there you go, kind of went into focus there. Anyway, that's a potentiality for bacteria to get in there. These incubators run 37, 38 degrees. They run 60% humidity generally when you're doing chickens. So it's a pretty good environment for bacterias, and you don't want them into your eggs, and ultimately you don't want to mess in your incubator either. So anyway, that's it's what you want to look for. Once again, still great odds. We ended up with 16 of our Jersey Giants and 5 of our own. And yeah, so we've got 21 eggs going into the incubator, and in 21 days we will follow up with our success rate. Hopefully there is some success. So we've had this thing running half a day or so. We wanted to double check the temperature, make sure that it was working properly, and make sure the humidity was coming up. So we started it up with no water in there, no humidity. It was registering lower than, I think it was like 18, 19, and 20 range. So I added water, the humidity came right up. So I know the humidity sensor is working properly. And we just have to hope that the numbers themselves are registering properly. Temperature, we went ahead and stuck our own thermostat in there. Thermostat read back exactly what these digitals are reading. So we are confident and sure that this thing is going to be working properly. We're going to go ahead and place our eggs in there. And the way this thing works is it'll turn the eggs about 3 times a day. Every 24 hours it's running, it will clock a day. And so it'll climb up 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be your way to keep track if you're running one of these units. This will tell us when we can candle our eggs, on the 8th day and on the 15th day. You do not want to open or disturb these things if you're running some units like this. They, once you've put them in there, especially the first few days, it's super critical for development. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and place the eggs in there. I'm going to turn this off for a minute, and then we'll place the eggs. Pointy side down, and the air sac is in the blunter end of the egg. So this would be our point. This would be the blunter end. So the air sac is in there. They'll sit in that incubator and turn back and forth. And yeah, that as the chick develops, it will break into that air sac for air supply while it gets himself out of the shell. So first we're gonna go ahead and shut this thing down and yeah, let it reset its clock and get the eggs loaded up. The eggs are all placed. And yeah, we've got our Jersey Giants here on the outside. We've got 3 from our Americanas, and we went ahead and bred our Orpington, our Lavender Orpington to our Blue Americana roosters. So we're kind of really curious to see what kind of coloration we get out of those hens. And yeah, super excited. So we're going to get this thing closed up and power it up. And 8 days, we'll check them, see if there's any growth. We'll do another video to follow up with that and see what that looks like. And then, yeah, we'll check them again at 15 days again. and then I'll leave them alone for the last week. And I am super excited to see how this thing works and have all these new chickens running around. Here we go. So I don't have GFI outlets in this room that we're going to be leaving it in, so I'm just going to plug in a breaker box here. Just in case if we get a power surge or anything, I'd like to try and protect this. I imagine these things can be sensitive to power surges. I don't want to fry anything in there, so not a big deal if we do lose power, if there is a power surge, but I'd rather it break on this thing before, so we're going to go ahead and plug that in. They don't recommend plugging these things into extension cords or running them off extension cords, so if you can avoid that, I would. Also, make sure you don't, if you're running one of these units from Montpellier or then one of your other poultry supply places, don't destroy your styrofoam. And if you did break it up, just get yourself some good silicone caulking, and it works fairly well for gluing this stuff back together if you get a little break or if you snapped it up. And we'll go ahead and leave that on there, help keep the temperatures where they need to be. And we are powering up day 1 of incubation on the Jersey Giants and our little homestead chickens. And temperatures should be coming up, humidity's coming up, and here we are. Relative humidity set to 60. It's probably gonna jump up and down a bit while it comes up and the sensors come online. And here's our set temperature at 37 for the eggs, and you'll see that climb up as well. And yep, looks like the egg turning reset as well. Hey everyone, exciting day. We are on the 8th day of our egg incubation. So we are going to check our eggs and see if we got any activity going. Okay, so this was our first egg actually, and we have got success. You can see here that the egg is caught. It's going to be really hard to see in this video, but there's a definite mass on the egg. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and put it back in there. So this was an egg from one of our hens and our rooster. A little smaller than those Jersey Giant eggs, but yeah, there's a little bit of a mass in there. We're going to throw it back in and check it again in 7 days, see what happens. Okay, so here we have another one of our eggs from our Americana rooster. And there is a little bit of mass, but not as much development as we've seen in the other eggs. We will go ahead and put these back in. It doesn't hurt to leave them in there for another 7 days. If we don't see anything more than this after that, then we'll go ahead and put them aside. Okay, another one of our Jersey Giant eggs, and you can definitely see a difference between this one and the one that we didn't see a lot of activity. There are some darker masses forming in that in this larger mass inside the egg. You can see that there's a massive difference here between the equator of the egg. The southern part is quite clear and open, and then this upper part is definitely darker, and you can kind of see these little masses floating around in there. That's a definite caught egg. So back in the incubator. This is one that we're not super sure about. There is definitely some massing, like some color difference on the top of that egg there, but yeah, not as much as some of the others. So this is going to be a question mark egg for us in the incubator when we check them again in 7 days. If it doesn't look any different, then yeah, it'll get set aside. Okay, so all our eggs are checked. Right now we are looking at like 99%. We've got one for sure we're not certain on. The rest of them all have definite signs of growth. So back in the incubator they go, and when this thing hits 15 days, we will check them again. On any of those we're not sure of. There were a couple in there that, you know, they had some mass, but there wasn't as much mass as the other ones that were definite. So if they still look that way in another 7 days, they will just go ahead and toss them out and make room for the other eggs that are for sure going to hatch some chicks. So exciting. Stay tuned. We will give another update in 7 days. So we are 2 weeks in on the incubation, and we are going to go ahead and do our second candling and make sure there's still progress going on inside the eggs. Okay, so here we go. This one's definitely got a lot more going on in it this week than last week, and a much darker mass at the top of the egg here. So back in the incubator it goes. And yeah, hopefully we got a chick coming out of here in another week. Okay, so here we have one of our Jersey Giants that looks to have not caught. So, yep, that's basically it. This is the same as it looked about a week ago. It should look as dark and solid as the other ones at this point. So we will go ahead and discard this one. And here we have our Americana eggs. A little smaller than the Jersey Giants, but definitely a lot of activity going on in that egg. Exciting. Hopefully we get some pretty coloration. We're not sure what we're going to get. He throws blue, black, or splash. And this is our other Orpington egg. Sadly, our Orpingtons didn't catch. Not sure why, but yeah, we only got 2 out of her, and yeah, it doesn't look like this one caught either. So set aside it goes. Okay, so out of the 22 we started with, we've got at least 17 that are certain progress. 2 of them we've kind of put question mark on. There's some progress, but they're not quite as dark as the other ones, so we've set them off to the side with some question marks. And then we did have 3 that we pulled from the incubator because there's just no progress on them whatsoever. So stay tuned. Next week we will see these little guys start cracking out of here. Hey everyone, day 18. Super excited, super nervous. We are going to go ahead and pull the egg turner out of this unit and get the eggs laid out and spread around on the base of this unit, and yeah, start getting that humidity up and get some chicks hatching here hopefully in the next few days. Now we're going to go ahead and lay them gently onto their sides on the little basket tray down on the bottom here. And closely monitor them over the next 3 or 4 days. Our Jersey Giants are going to take quite a bit more time, so at least a few days. So we're going to keep a close eye on them. Get them all just laid in here, give them all enough little space to start pipping and breaking their eggs. Alright, so they're all in there. We've got our little viewing ports here, so we'll try not to open this thing up too much over the next couple of days. Go ahead and get the light in there if we see any activity. We can monitor it and get that humidity up in there. That'll drop back down here in a minute. It climbs up because I just sprayed a bunch of water in there. Just open up that port there. Let some of that moisture out, and hopefully 3 and 4 days we'll have an update and some little baby chicks running around, and then we will be also covering our little in-house brooder box that we will transfer them to until they're ready to move out to the big coop. All right, day 21 is here, and we already have one little chick trying to make their way into the world. Super excited. Nerves and tension is high. I've gone ahead and stuck my inspection camera just above the egg there, so hopefully we get some good shots of it coming out of its shell. It's going to be hard to see on the film probably, but you can see here where she's pipping through with the little hook on the end of their beak. And officially my first hatched egg. This is one of our Jersey Giants, which are supposed to be the slower movers, but this one decided to come out first, so we've gone ahead and moved a couple of the chicks into their little brood box, and they are settling in under the heater, and they're quite active. These 2 were the first 2 out, and they are harassing the other ones as they try to come out, so we went ahead and moved them. They're good and dried off, and yeah, this is where they'll spend the next I don't know, a few weeks or so until we can get them out into the big brooder and the chicken coop. Stay tuned. share something interesting and cool about the hatching process. This was kind of like almost a perfectly clean break on the egg. Anyway, they'll start with pipping a little hole with a little hook that they have on the end of their beaks. We'll go ahead and put a picture up of what that looks like. And then they'll let the air in, and as the air comes in, they absorb that yolk sac into their bodies, and that's what gives them nutrient for the next few days while they're underneath the hen. But then as they dry, they twist and move themselves, and they cut a perfect line almost all the way around and break out in most cases. We did have some that broke their feet out first. That does happen from time to time. The Jersey Giants, it seems as though when they shift, they break out. So we did have one that had a foot popped out. I'll see if I can find a picture of that for you guys. Anyway, so that's what it looks like. It's pretty cool. And fight the urge to help them. You'll see that little hole. It could be there for almost a day. It could take them quite some time to get out of these shells sometimes. So fight the urge to get in there and help them. It's the most critical time to not interfere is when you see that little hole appear. Let it sit for a day or so, and then give them their time to come out. And yeah, pretty neat for anybody that was interested in how they get themselves out. It's still fascinating to me how quickly and they form and how quick they go from this to that. We just wanted to share our brooder box with any of you that are doing this for the first time and getting set up. We just used a simple dog crate, and we lined it with some cardboard so that they can't kick the straw and the sand out of there. And we made sure they've got a little food dish and a little water dish, and the infrared heater panel in the back, which seems to be the preferred way to heat. Much safer, much less energy used. So we are a big fan of those, especially compared to the old heat lamps. We don't like those very much at all, and they're not very safe. So yeah, really easy to set up. If you got an old dog kennel or an old box, you just make sure they've got enough space to get under the heat where they want to get under, and then if they need to escape it, then they can come out and escape it. Scratch around and play. They don't need much room when they're this small, but the more you can give them, the better. The sand. Yeah. You want to make sure you get some kind of a sand or grit in there. If you've got good sand out in your yard, dry it out in the sun really well. Get some kind of a sifter and sift most of the debris out of it as you can, and it works as a great litter and also a natural source of grit for them. So yeah, we threw that in there, and obviously the straw was pushed underneath the heater where they could nest at night, but they've proceeded to get it somehow all over the inside of the box already. So they're quite efficient at scratching things everywhere. And you can see they're drinking over there out of their water dish. Yeah, this is one that came with our incubator. It's safe for chicks. It's really shallow and auto feeds, or gravity feeds, so they can't really drown in it. You want to make sure you've got something that's safe. If you don't have one of those, you can use a small shallow dish, put a bunch of stones in there from the yard. Smoother the better, but anything to stop them from being able to actually submerge their face or beak in there, and that'll be just fine. Same with your food dish. You don't need the fancy little thing that they sent in the incubator. You could just use a small shallow dish. They will get in there and try and scratch around, so if you can figure out a way to prevent that, you might want to do that. And we gave them some stuff to climb on and play on, so they don't get too bored. And a little roosting so they can practice their roosting. They're already wanting to see what's going on over the cardboard, so we've given them some stuff to climb up on, and I'm sure before long they'll be climbing around on that heater in the back there. So they should start eating on their own in the first couple of days once you've moved them into the brooder. They can survive. I think they up to 72 hours or so. I don't like to push that 3 days, but I'd like to see them eating in the first day or so. but they can survive on the yolk that they absorb for the first few days. So if you don't see them start eating though after you've moved them into the brooder, make sure you show them where the water is. We dip their beaks in the water, and they quickly learn where that is. And then the food as well. We kind of tap on the food dish and show them where it is. Naturally, they come around and out of curiosity check things out. So usually they figure it out. But just make sure that they're getting their food and water after a couple of days of being outside of the incubator, especially. Okay, we've got 4 out of the incubator so far. This is one of our little jerseys. And if everything on the internet's right, her wing pattern shows that she'll probably be a hen. So here's hoping. She's definitely one of the biggest ones. So we'll keep an eye on the incubator for another day or two and see if any more come out. We got a few others underneath the heat there. A couple of Americanas and another Jersey. Yeah, not super happy with the hatch rate that we got. Definitely going to try some different things next year. There's a lot of debate going back and forth on dry hatching versus humidity. And yeah, so not super thrilled with the high humidity. So we're going to go ahead and try this dry hatching next year. So yeah, we'll put up a video about that as well. Okay, so what is the dry method? We've done some research and because a lot of people are debating which method works better. So dry, it means they just keep the humidity barely above 15% for the first few weeks, and then they bump it up over 50% for the last few days of the hatch, generally between that 18 and 21 days. And then, yeah, that's it. So we're going to try that one next year as opposed to the incubator method, which keeps the humidity at a high level pretty much the whole time. So, yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thank you to all those that have subscribed. If you haven't yet, please do. We're going to do some more videos on our brood box and follow these little guys as they move out into the larger coop, which we're getting set up right now. And yeah, thanks again to everybody for supporting us on our little journey here.